Welcome back, everyone, to episode 2, our playthrough on Kaiserreich as the nation of Austria. It is July of 1937. If you did not see episode 1, there's a link in the description so you can get caught up back at the beginning. Let's go ahead and continue on and see what happens today. So just as a reminder of where things stand, we are currently working on our economic rehabilitation plan. Expanding domestic farms is our first step toward adding some steel production and then adding 6 military factories, which will be huge. We've got a revolt, a Venetian revolt. Interesting. So there's a lot happening right now in Venice with the Italians. There's all kinds of breakups happening right now. This actually might be a really good opportunity for us to step in and seize some land, but I don't know that we have the ability to do that. We have a non-aggression pact with them at the moment, so it's not even an option. What about Venetia? The Socialist Republic of Italy. We can't do that. We need world tension at 75%, at least as of now, to be able to do anything. We're working on production for tanks, so we can start ramping up our armor production a little bit. Well, Legionnaire Italy just canceled our non-aggression pact. That makes total sense that they would do that under the circumstances. Still need 75% before we can really do anything, though. We could send volunteers, get some experience. I think we'll just kind of largely stay out of it, though I do like the idea of at least sending some attachés so that we can gain some. We don't have the points to do it right now. We're only at 34. I'm going to start queuing up some construction on infrastructure because that will add to our production. Every level of infrastructure you can see here in the places where we've got a lot of production capacity, it will increase what we're producing. It's a really quick and easy way to add to what we produce. The problem is just most of our territories just aren't producing anything, so there's not a lot to be gained by that. Actually, let's go up here where the steel production is. And then right here, we're not going to get anything out of that. So there's only a few places we can really gain anything from infrastructure that make it worth it. Paraguay declared war on Argentina, so there's a lot going on in South America. The French Republic declared war on Chad and Nigeria. Or no, I guess it was Niger. I was thinking Nigeria, but it doesn't exist at the moment. So that's these two territories right here. Let's see what's happening with the U.S. Civil War. It looks like it's going to end up becoming a war between the American Union State and the United States of America, but I don't know for sure if that's how it'll stay. So I'm at the place now where I think I'm going to scale back my exports a little bit just because I'd rather keep the limited resources that I have than get the bonuses from trade that give me more construction ability, more civilian factories. French Republic declared war on Mali. Greece has capitulated in their war with Bulgaria. We've completed Alpine mines. So Greece doesn't exist anymore. We got Romania right here, Bulgaria here, which is kind of weird because Bulgaria is right here. So Bulgaria owns Greece, but not Bulgaria. Romania owns Bulgaria. Interesting. All right, let's take a look at our national focus. We've completed our Alpine mines. Now we're going to go for these 6 military factories, which we'll get in 56 days. I want to start producing tanks more, but I just don't have the steel to do it. So hopefully the changes we're making to trade, you can see we don't have nearly the deficits that we had before in terms of trade, but we also have lost a ton of civilian factories that we have available. Not sure where we want to go next. We're a little ahead there. Let's go resource gain efficiency. That's always good. Well, that's a little bit concerning. The German Empire just canceled their non-aggression pact with us. I really hope that doesn't mean that they're thinking about doing something aggressive. They're authoritarian Democrats right now. Yeah, that concerns me a bit. And now the Russians have declared war on a number of states on their border. World tension hasn't gone up at all, though. It's still right around 39-40%, right where it's been for a while now. There's some more improvements toward building some medium tanks. We're going to start designing those as soon as I can get enough army experience to make the designs that I want to. I do want at least a limited navy. I'm thinking mainly centered around submarines, but there's not really anything I want to do as far as research goes on that end at the moment. Let's go ahead and get our next infantry weapons research done. Well, it looks like the Germans are working on nuclear weapons, the Damocles project. That's certainly something of concern, especially if Germany decides it is not my friend, which it may very well decide. Right now I am working on institutionalizing the Vienna Circle, which is going to get us an extra research slot and then give us a boost to research speed. Eventually I can do Protector of the Balkans. Actually, I can do that now. But what I eventually want to be able to do is end the dual role down here, but I don't have the ability to do that unless I own Slavonia or Central Hungary, Western Slovakia, and Transylvania. I just don't have the ability to do those things right now. And I can't do anything as far as like declaring war on Hungary because they're a part of my faction and they're a crown land of mine. I mean, I could give them freedom and then invade them, maybe, but I don't think we're there yet. All right, so the war in the Balkans ended. Now Bulgaria is back where it was before. Greece exists again. Serbia right there. So kind of turned into the status quo. Niger was just, or Niger, I'm not sure how that's pronounced these days, annexed by the French Republic. Oh, and now there's a new war breaking out in the Balkans. There's our extra research slot. Not sure what I want to do with it yet. Let's go back to industry. And we're back up here for now. The Vienna Circle. Research speed +1, and it'll invite other people to join the Vienna Circle. You know what? I'm going to go Protector of the Balkans. Let's shake things up a little bit. Okay, so Norway has joined the Entente. Puerto Rico declares independence during the American Civil War that's happening over there. Doesn't look like a ton has changed. Fighting all the way along the lines as before. We're still at about 38% world tension. Here are all the current wars that are going on. Only one that looks like it might be leaning in one direction heavily is the war between Argentina and Chile, which seems to be going in Chile and Paraguay's favor. The Dutch Revolution, and yet another victory for the forces of the left in Europe. So traditionally moderate Netherlands has gone the way of the British and the French and fallen to socialism. So socialism continues to spread over there. The Dutch East Indies have joined the Reichspact. Interesting. Man, I just don't know how this is all going to shake out. Japan announces her ambitions. So for the first time, I'm now trading for all the resources I need, so we actually have a positive input of those resources. So we can actually really start producing some of the weapons that we need for things like our medium tank brigades. We have done Protector of the Balkans. I don't think we can do either one of these, because neither of these is in a position for that to happen. Alright, let's go back and do Vienna Circle now. Looks like we don't have enough convoys, so we're going to have to produce some of those. We're about 7 short of the number that we need. Producing a lot of artillery right now, and of course medium tanks. And once my army experience gets up higher, we're going to redesign our tanks. Get them a little more the way I'd like them to be. But for now, we need some convoys. So let's prioritize that a little bit. I think we probably need to produce them a little faster than that. Alright, notification that Romania is justifying against us. We'll see if that, yeah, it's one of those just kind of like brief things that happened and then went away just as quickly. 75% is what we need to justify against anybody. That hasn't really changed. The Ottoman Empire is now the Sublime Ottoman Federation. New flag and everything. Social liberals have taken over there. So it looks like an end to the monarchy in the Ottoman Empire. We do have a civil war going on in Greece. There's the Hellenic Socialist Republic. Socialism continues to spread in Europe. Let's look at the factions right now. That's the main concern we have. This is our faction here. We've got the Reich's Pact. Of course, the Third Internationale, which now includes the Dutch. The Entente has the French Republic. We've got Portugal. Corsica is part of that. India. The Moscow Accord still basically just Russia and the nations it's conquered. The Entente's also including Canada. And that's about it at the moment. Still pretty much a status quo in the U.S. Civil War. Same with the Spanish Civil War, for that matter. Okay, Russia annexed Turkestan. There's a war happening between the Ottomans and the Iranians. So that's starting to show some big wars happening here. Armenian Uprising. So now they've declared war. That would be Armenia's right here. So there's just a small little area. I think we had an end to one of the wars. Yep, down here, the Patagonian Workers' Front in place of Argentina. We got a war in Italy going on between the Socialist Republic of Italy and the two Sicilies, trying to unite Italy there. I believe that's our close air support that we've just finished researching. We're in 1938, so I don't really plan to use bombers much. So I don't think we'll do anything with that at the moment. Japan just declared war on the Philippines. And we've completed civilian economy, so we got 3 new civilian factories real quick there. We're running out of things we can do except for maybe work on them, researching the military a little bit. I can't do this unless I can take part of Hungary, and there's just no way to take part of Hungary right now. So we're currently producing 5 tanks a day. We're getting low on manpower, so the important thing I think is going to be the most effective with the manpower I have, and I think that's going to include armor. So let's go ahead and create a variant of our tank. We don't have any automatic upgrades that we can make, so we're going to add some new modules. A heavy machine gun will reduce reliability but add to our soft and hard attack and breakthrough. So let's go ahead and add that. Got a gasoline engine. I think that's probably going to be the most useful. How do we add to reliability? Probably have to be with one of these special modules. Now, sloped armor would be good. Smoke launchers, I like that. Oh, there we go. Wet ammunition storage adds to our reliability. It gets us up to 115%, which is going to allow us to make some other interesting changes, I think. Riveted armor. We could go to, let's see, that's 2 and 2. We could go to cast armor, and that would improve our protection, but add to the production costs. That's okay. With a small army, we're going to need it to be as powerful as possible. What do we currently have there? We have a Christie suspension. I think we'll probably keep that. Alright. Radio. That'll add to defense and breakthrough. I like that. And then we can go with additional machine guns, extra ammo, sloped armor. I'm just looking at all the possibilities here and how they impact things. Yeah, I like that. I think that'll work for now. Oh, we could just kind of add here. That'll add to our speed and our fuel usage. But we're still at 100% reliability. So that's good. Cool. I like that. Let's go with it. Kingdom of Greece defeated the Hellenic Socialist Republic. That's actually some really good news. That means that that's one fewer socialist country that appears on the map there. So we can upgrade our artillery now to improved artillery. I don't think we'll go any further with that at the moment. Not quite to the place where we're ready to start working on atomic research yet, but I do like here 5% research speed bonus for only 165 days of research. Russians have declared war on the Don Kuban Union, which once again we're seeing the tension ratchet up a little bit, and if we can just get it up over 75%, well then all hell breaks loose because anything's possible. Serbia has annexed Macedonia. Looking at the U.S. now. Looks like the combined syndicates are pushing back a little bit. Man, there's no clear path to victory for anybody at the moment. Same with Spain. Looks like the socialists are winning in Italy, though. That's an unwelcome development. I don't know if we are in a place where we can send them some volunteers. We can send them 2. Alright, so let's send them. What are we sending them? I don't know. Okay. Austria Daimler. Our Sicilian volunteers have arrived. That's the 43rd and 44th Infantry Divisions. So let's see what they can do to make a difference here, if anything. Wish I could send more. I don't think it'll let me, but it would be interesting to see if that's a possibility. Nah, it's not going to happen. War in the desert. Egypt has declared war on the Sublime Ottoman Federation as they are in the process of overrunning the Republic of Iran. We'll see if that slows that invasion down at all, as now they have to turn their focus over to the Sinai Peninsula. Syria has joined the Cairo Pact, so we're going to start seeing that happening now. Syria declared war on the Ottomans. So Ottomans got their hands full right now. A little revolt happening. Yemen has joined the Cairo Pact, so boy, all kinds of things happening. Seems like things have slowed to a crawl, at least for the moment, on the Italian peninsula. Manila has fallen to the Japanese, so Japan starts to spread its influence into the South Pacific. They're taking Manila. It won't be long before the Philippines fall altogether. Russians are making a lot of progress on the Don Kuban Union. Seems like we're holding the line here in Italy. I wish I could send more than 2 divisions, but unfortunately that's all it'll allow for us right now. With Japan busy in the Philippines, the Republic of Korea has risen up in revolt against Japanese rule. So every time somebody gets aggressive and decides to try and spread out a little further, they find themselves paying for it. It looks like Iran's out of the war, though. So is Syria. So now Egypt's going to have its handful because they're fighting the Ottomans alone. We're also being pushed back in the 2 Sicilies. I think this is probably a losing proposition. So I may need to try and get those infantry divisions out of there. Okay, it's getting interesting now. Russia has declared war on Finland. We've recalled our volunteers from the 2 Sicilies, and Greece has joined the Entente. So that's what's going on right now. We're still just sitting on the sidelines waiting for our time to get involved. We're just not quite there yet, but we will be. The Philippines have fallen to the Japanese. We're still at just 46% world tension. It looks like this war is about to be done. The Korean Uprising is not looking good for Korea. They're about to be put down brutally. We have seen a little bit of the shift in the nature of the two civil wars, the two big ones, as we see the Kingdom of Spain losing ground against the other two, and now we see kind of a push by the combined syndicates down into Tennessee and even northern Mississippi and Alabama, while the American Union state pushes a little bit into the west. Korea is knocked out, and we're about to see a victory for the Socialist Republic of Italy as they're making their way down into Sicily itself. They're also trying to take Rome from the Papal States. That'll be a united Italy for the first time. Well, mostly united. They don't have the Northeast up here, which is still controlled by Legionnaire Italy. There's new research in infantry equipment. We're going to go to infantry equipment 3 now. Looking at our military, we've got about a 500,000 man army now, which means we're just about dry on manpower. I've got a ton of political power available to me. Really not a lot I want to do with it. I guess we can pick a chief of the Air Force. Air superiority is mainly what I'm concerned about. So what can we do about manpower? Not a lot, unfortunately, because we're not at a place where we can change our conscription laws. We would need at least 50% war support, which we're only at 28% right now. The fall of Washington. That's interesting. Let's take a look and see what's happening here. So Washington has fallen to the combined syndicates. Don't like to see that. I think that's a socialist group. Yeah. So they're the socialists. The United States is probably the democracy. It is. And the American Union state then is the authoritarian Democrat. That's kind of the fascist party, I guess, under Huey Long. All right, let's get some rocketry bonus so we can start working on rockets. There's the end of Italy. Papal State and 2 Sicilies have been annexed. So there's a third major socialist power in Western Europe. Now the Socialist Republic of Italy has declared war on Legionnaire Italy, so they're trying to complete the conquest, and that will put that socialist nation right on our border. I think we need to try and do whatever we can to help them out. How many volunteers can we send? We can send 1 division. Really not even worth it, is it? Can we send air volunteers? That won't really do anything either. Russia has annexed Finland. I keep hoping that some of these wars, when they end, Sweden has joined the Reichspakt, will drive up world tension, but it doesn't seem to be happening. If we take Slavonia, that'll allow us to trigger that national focus tree that we want to go down. King Edward abdicates the throne. He waited till 39 to do it. Interesting, because that happened historically in 36. Prince Albert, viewed by many as a quiet, socially awkward man, is set to be coronated as King Albert I, so he won't be George VI, as he was historically. Interesting. So that's over in Canada, where that's happening. Looks like the American Union state may have seen better days. Okay, here we go. The Alsace Ultimatum. So Alsace-Lothringen, which is Alsace-Lorraine. So this is an area right here that right now in our historical world is owned by France, but every time there's a war between Germany and France, that area seems to switch sides. There we go. We've got war with Germany and France, and with that we are at 98% world tension, which means now we can pretty much do what we want. We can't go into a war with somebody that we're not, that's part of our faction, but we could justify against the socialists in Italy, which would bring us probably into war with the other socialists, but at the very least that'll help us to stem the tide of socialism a little bit. So let's go ahead and start getting ready for that. Poland just declared war on Germany, and now they've got war on both sides. Well, this is getting more interesting all the time. I've got one army that I've put on the border with Italy. I'm saving the other ones for the time being, expecting that there may be other places that I may need them. But mainly we're just going to focus on pushing through down to here for the time being. We'll see. I don't know why it's only showing 11 armies or 11 divisions as a part of that. I think we actually have half our divisions on that border and half here, and we don't really need them there, so I'll fix that. All right, I was afraid of this. The Socialist Republic of Italy has joined the Third Internationale. That means if we go through with declaring war, we will be in the World War, the Weltkrieg, the Second Weltkrieg, against France, Britain, etc. Not entirely sure I'm ready for that. At least not until we can unite Austria-Hungary, but it makes it more interesting if we do. So let's take a look and see what the situation looks like with that right now. The Second Weltkrieg, here it is. So right now, we don't really know what's going on, but it looks like things are pretty even in terms of casualty figures at the moment. The Germans have lost some territory, that's for sure. But they've got a two-front war. If they can deal with Poland, then maybe the situation changes. All right, so Russia declared war on Georgia. Georgia immediately joined the Reichspakt, and now Germany is at war with Russia. So this is pretty much shaping up the same way the First World War did in terms of Germany being at war with France, Britain, Russia. Of course, Poland exists where it didn't before. I think Germany might have its hands full right now. And we're going to probably see the Kaiser die pretty soon here. We could have gotten really interesting and go after Germany instead and join the other people. But honestly, I like the idea of being at war with the socialists first before we deal with anybody else. But Germany might not hold out long enough for that to happen. So it's a British-German war now is what it's showing as. But there's definitely a... Well, actually, it looks like the manpower... These are showing as separate wars. Their war with Russia and the others. The Second Weltkrieg. So I'm going to start working on my supply issues over here so that we can make sure that our armies are going to be supplied when we do go to war, which is about 2 months away, because right now we've got some definite attrition issues. Our supply status is very, very poor. Germany requests Austrian support. The Germans have asked us to join them in their war against syndicalism and the forces of the Internationale. Conservative elements in the country say that it is our sacred duty to defend Europe against the godless Reds, while others say we should not fight Germany's war for them. After all, Germany treated us rather shabbily when it came to the Brest-Litovsk divisions, with Poland and Ukraine being forced from our sphere of influence by the glory-hogging Reich. The Kaisers will fight together once again, in which case we would actually join the Reichspakt. Boy. Let's do it. We've joined the Reichspakt. Okay. We win or die, win or lose, live or die by what happens with Germany. So does that mean we are officially at war then? Let's take a look and see what that means. Yeah, we're in. Okay. Let's do it. Didn't even have to wait for the justification. Of course, our supplies are not what they need to be for this war to happen, so it's going to be kind of ugly at the beginning, I think. We might need to send some forces elsewhere, like maybe up here to help in what's happening with Poland right now. That might be the better option, and then just maybe defend against Italy. Okay, now we can go with extensive conscription because our numbers are down to 4,000, which is no good. We can also go to war economy, both of which will help us tremendously. The numbers are looking pretty even as far as fielded manpower on each side. It's going to take a little while to get this all sorted out because obviously all of these countries are now at war, which means we have this really long border with the Polish. So I'm going to send my Panzer divisions up here and see if we can't maybe strike in at the heart of Poland and cause them to have to rethink what they're doing because they don't have the men to cover that border at all. So now what we're going to see is that all of these countries which we have brought into the fray are going to be pushing on Poland, and Poland is just going to collapse in a hurry. And once Poland's out of this thing, the whole situation gets a little easier, because then we can really just have a traditional two-front war. Although it looks like at the moment German forces are pushing toward Paris, which is pretty interesting. And Serbia has declared war on us. So that's a new front opened up for us in the south that we're going to have to deal with. But I think we're already mostly prepared for that as we continue to... We're pushing our troops, sending massive amounts of infantry up into Poland right now. We're going to cut Poland off and hopefully drive them out of the war. Things are getting better now. We've stabilized things for Germany. We've only lost 2,000 casualties so far in all of this fighting. Whereas you can see the massive amounts of casualties being suffered by some of the other forces involved. We're going to see Poland collapse quickly, I think, or I hope. Okay, looks like Poland's out. That happened really, really fast, and we actually are the leading people in terms of making demands. We can't make that many demands. Looks like we could take... I don't think those are the territories that I want to take. Let's think this through a little bit. Okay, we've taken Poland. We get Warsaw and a little bit of surrounding territory. Germany gets most of the rest, but the main thing that this means is that now it's a little bit easier to turn our attention elsewhere. We've got to deal with the Italians. So because Italy has pushed all the way up into here, I'm going to put my front line right here with these 29 divisions and see if we can't push in and cut them off. Meanwhile, with these other infantry divisions, we've got to decide how we want to best use them. And I'm thinking that maybe for now, we want to go down on the front with Serbia and knock them out of this thing. Because I think we're okay on the Russian front for the time being. All right, I'm going to wrap this episode up right here. I've got a lot to kind of figure out. Now that we've knocked Poland out of the war, I think the situation will stabilize for Germany. But they've got a major issue right up here in the north with Denmark. Obviously, the issues that they're dealing with over on the Western Front, though they're still getting super close to Paris. And then, of course, the Russians. Looking at the war situation, it looks pretty even in terms of casualties. I definitely think we have the higher manpower at the moment. We've still only lost just 2,000 men in all of this fighting. So that's the good news. Germany's lost 334,000. But I think things will stabilize. I think we'll be in good shape. We're just going to keep pumping out the air units. We've got to see if things can be stabilized up here and pushed down from that direction. We'll try to cut them off, though the fighting in the mountains is ugly and supply is a big issue. And then, of course, dealing with Serbia down here. But let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. We'll get everything reorganized and be ready to fight into 1940 in the next episode. Thanks for watching.